going, team? This is the Brown Man. After a long night, I woke up and I'm getting this out for you guys. So I'm working hard for the homies. So I literally just woke up, but I have some experience with the blacksmith, and also just went over some of the values, and I tested some of the values last night, so I can make this for you guys this morning. So this is several builds for the blacksmith, and actually in testing some of the values I had to remove some points on the tree just to see what his weapon master melee did. So the blacksmith is an interesting support. He's a support that cannot use ranged weapons, but he can potentially craft ranged weapons using his active ability, or his ultimate as some people call, which does not have a cooldown. So Avenging Anvil does not have a cooldown, but the cooldown is naturally inside of the game because you have to gather a certain amount of metal scraps, and when you craft a weapon you automatically use all the metal scraps that you have. The next thing also with Avenging Anvil that people should know is that you cannot go into the game and level up or put pink F slots into metal scraps, since he cannot use guns. His pink F tree and his pink F and his skill tree is different. There are no gun perks on the skill tree. For metal scraps, you have to use 2 pink Fs before you can put 1 into metal scraps. So that means you can put 2 into health, and then you can have 1 point in metal scraps, 2 into something else, and then 1 point of metal scraps, then 2 into something else, and then the last point in metal scraps. So there's 3 pink F points in metal scraps. Each one increases the metal scraps by 10. So it starts off with 20, and then you'll have a full 50 metal scraps. If you collect 50 out of 50 metal scraps, then you get a guaranteed legendary. And that's how it is to use his ability. Also, his crafting can be interrupted, so just be mindful. If it's interrupted, it does cancel the crafting animation. You don't lose metal scraps unless there are certain interrupts that make you lose metal scraps, but I haven't lost metal scraps. So that's how Avenging Anvil works. So each hammer strike onto the anvil is a rarity. So it's going to go common, rare, epic, and then you need a thunder strike on the legendary, and then you drop the legendary down. That's how it's going to work for my boy. And of course my boy is going to be big beefy with weapon master melee, allowing him to have some more damage. So actually some of the calculations is, so basically I walked up to a basic unit and punched him. So punching a basic unit with Big Boy actually does 20 damage, but if I were to punch the basic unit with David, it was 12 damage. So I'm not too sure if it rounds depending on the damage and whatnot that it does, but that seems to be a 50% increase. I'm not too sure if it's between 30 and 50, but of course, as I said, I tested it last night. It was the same basic unit as well. It was an Elegos unit, so when I punched an Elegos unit with Big Boy, it did 20, and when I punched it with David, it was 12. So that's quite a bit of boost that you have for your weapon master. And of course, that's why I have 11 points not in, because I had to take off all the damage perks just to make sure that I'm not adding anything unnecessarily to the damage. So I just went no damage perks for David or for Big Boy, and I just walked up and punched the unit. And I made sure they were both Elegos units, because different units have different defense values, and I just want to make sure things are as consistent as possible. And along with that, of course, we went over the first perk, second perk. You also do more dismemberment damage and more balance bar damage. So that means you hit very, very fast. So you want to be mindful that if you have a good weapon and if you hit really fast, you can stun lock somebody and you can down them. Seeing the amount of damage that you do, especially if you start speccing into all this other damage here, it's going to be quite rough for the opponent, especially if you have something like a really fast weapon like a spear or the noose staff. If you still knock somebody, it's going to be a wrap. Or if you craft yourself, which seems to be really common if you collect 50 metal plates, but metal scraps. But the legendary hunting knife, because you have Weapon Master Melee, you attack faster with every single weapon that's in your hand. You deal faster, you do more damage, you hit faster, and of course that balance bar, the extra balance bar is going to be great because you not just do more balance bar because of the perk, so not only does the balance bar value actually go up, but because you swing faster, the balance bar over time goes up. Your damage over time goes up because you swing faster, right? So if someone does 4 swings versus 3 swings in the same amount of time, you have that extra amount of... What the hell? Anyway, as I was saying until I was rudely interrupted because the game wanted to kick me out, there are still server issues. The game just kicked me out while I was making this video. I wasn't even in a match because of course you have to be online just to enter the game. But anyway, yeah, so if someone does 4 hits in the same time someone else does 3 hits, that 4th hit is going to have a balance bar advantage because you get the extra hit. So in between doing more balance bar per hit and getting more hits in over time, this guy actually does quite a bit of melee damage. And Tough as Nails. So Tough as Nails adds 400 HP. I think that it's a very simple perk, but we of course have some values. So this guy is big beefy, and he has to be big beefy because he doesn't have a ranged weapon. So that means instead of doing damage or balance bar from afar, he's forced most of the time to potentially trade blows with the opponent. Some of the values is with Industrial Strength, you have 1900 HP. So that is 1650 HP plus 250 from the pink F. So if you go fully invested in pink F, that's 250 plus your 1650. That's with Industrial Strength. Without Industrial Strength, you're at 1300 plus the 250 from the pink F. That gives you 1550. Just for reference, Henry the Red has 1955 or 1955 HP with Industrial Strength and the full pink F. So you only have 55 less HP than Henry the Red. So that's just something to think about in terms of the HP value. So that 400 HP is really big. Once again, you have 1900 HP with Industrial Strength on there, which is only 55 less from a spec'd out Henry the Red. So that's beefy. So he has the second highest HP in the game, I believe. Because once again, Henry has 10% HP. So that is quite the beefiness in there. And Rough and Ready is the last perk. So Rough and Ready makes it so there's a chance that the amulet does not break. 50% chance. The cooldown is 30 seconds. And you increase the melee damage by 15%, and the duration is 20 seconds. So it'll last 20 seconds, and you'll see an icon. So on the top right, you actually see what the icon looks like. It's a hand and the little amulet, and the duration is 20 seconds. So that means the cooldown is effectively 10 seconds because you can't stack it. It makes it so you cannot stack it because the cooldown is 30 seconds, the duration is only 20 seconds. So there's effectively a 10-second duration between buffs that you can grant. So with this guy, some people will actually go like this, and that would be pretty much that would be a standard offensive support. So of course, some people, they can go into more into Shemps Plus if they want. That's once again that's fine. But if you don't see much of a difference in value, if you don't really want that, then you can go into Devastating Force. Devastating Force obviously increases your attack damage, so that's going to scale up quite well. We have one in Weapon Master one-handed, and I went full into Devastating Force and Heavy Hitter because maybe you don't want to do one-handed because maybe the weapon that you'll get is really good, and I'm not actually a big fan of looking for a specific weapon. I don't want to do well with just a specific weapon. I want to do well with any weapon. which gives, for example, Evil Dead 1 Ash an advantage over offensively over David, because Evil Dead 1 Ash can use any gun and do well with it. So Devastating Force, so of course that scales up. Tougher Than Hell, that 10% damage buff along with your amazing 1900 HP thanks to Industrial Strength is actually going to do quite well for you. And of course Heavy Hitter, because you attack faster, your heavy melee attacks will come out pretty much just as fast as 5th Pink F Warrior. It will pretty much come out just as fast as that. So putting the extra damage on your heavy melee also buffs any weapon that you have in your hand, because you could do heavy melee attacks with any weapon. So this is just for general builds. If you want, there is an alternative here. You can actually go do I have to do that? It's weird. You can actually go into, you can actually also backtrack out of that, but you can actually take this southern route and not put one here when you build. So let's go into, and this allows you to actually have a lot of damage on your attacks because you have this added last word boost. So you're gonna go heavy, especially if you go with the two-handed, but of course you need 2 here. That's the only thing that you do need the 2 here. So you're going to go attack, 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 last word. So that's going to add a 50% boost to that last hit damage. So you can also do 3 lights into a heavy just to make it come out faster. That's just an alternative way to do it. Another build that we can do, if you don't want to invest all in that, that's totally fine. Of course, one an Artful Dodger. If you want to go full Industrial Strength, that's not bad. You can go 2 into Extra Sheps. You don't have to do 2 into Extra Sheps. It all depends on your confidence. If you just want the peace of mind that you spawn with an Extra Sheps, then you go for it. Of course, there's no reason not to have as much Sheps as possible. Once again, if you just want the peace of mind, then you go 2. You don't have to go 2. You don't even have to go Industrial Strength because you have plus 400 HP thanks to Tough as Nails, right? So you already have something that hires your HP above other supports. So you can go fully into Fast Forward, and then you know you can obviously go mixed here. You can say, okay, we're gonna go Deep Pockets now. You go Deep Pockets. And now it's like, okay, you can go, if you want real big beefy, you can go into this aimlet here. But for the most part, this value of extra 10% and extra length sometimes isn't worth the value of extra balance bar along with Tougher Than Hell. Just being honest, right? Because, once again, he doesn't use guns. And he has a lot of HP, so you don't have to put 4 into Industrial Strength. As we said, the value of not going into Industrial Strength is 1550. That is the value of not going in there. So you can go into something like, you know, max balance bar for the support. You can do 1 and then go into 1, 2, 3, right? Because he's actually very straightforward, just because of his perks and his skill tree. He doesn't really have any wasted anything, because he focuses on a very specific thing. So there actually isn't 800 ways to have this guy. And then of course your last Pink F, if you want, you can go into Artful Dodger to save some more. You can put 1 in here to hope. You can put 1 in here, but it's not worth it. At 5%, I don't think it's worth it. You can go into Fear No Evil. If you think that's worth it. You can once again just put the last one in Packing Pop, to be honest. Just once again have the security, and you'll have the Fast Forward to help your team on objectives. You'll have the extra defense. Because once again, a lot of the stuff isn't really needed, but he's naturally going to have an industrial strength and without industrial strength. So that's pretty much what's going to determine some of the values that you do have. Is industrial strength or no? Once again, he doesn't need industrial strength, but if you have it, he's going to have just as much HP as Henry. Going to have just as much HP as Henry the Red if you do put in that industrial strength. And that allows him to be a support that's actually quite hard to kill. Circumstantial, of course, because once again, he cannot use a gun. So sometimes distance is the best deterrent, right? Because they're not taking damage if you're sniping and doing things from a distance. But in terms of being up close and personal, he is the hardest support to take down. Not only that, but because of, once again, his last perk, he might not break an amulet when using it, so that gives him sometimes an additional amulet. And also, the 15% melee buff makes him even a bit harder to take down. And by having, especially investing in balance bar, you can balance bar stun something when you have no more stamina, when you're lacking stamina, and that can give you a way of escape. And I don't know if you guys hear it, but fuck this aircraft real quick. There we go, aircraft has moved. Oh my god, New York, man, I love it sometimes. So, another thing you can do is if you actually don't want to go into here, you can also go for the big beefy. Once again, if you feel like you don't need the Shemps Plus, that's fine. You can go into something like, if you don't want this, you can go into 4, 5, 1, 3, 4. You go into Reinforced Amulet if you want, and that will give you the extra tankiness of 10% extra damage reduction when you have a shield up. So you're going to have 20% damage reduction. If you just want to be like that scrapper, if you want to be that really tanky support, you can do that. And that's pretty much some of the best ways that I've seen to play as the Blacksmith is to be really tanky or go offense, or you can actually go, if you want, mixed offense along with fast forward. But fast forward, of course, is a notable support perk, so some people might not want to miss out on that. I hope you guys enjoyed the video. Like, share, subscribe, etc. if you found this helpful. Stay safe, stay hydrated, and of course, have a good one.